I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. Years ago, I would lecture and do comedy actually all over the United States. And I drove everywhere. I mean, I put hundreds of thousands of miles on a car in a year. I mean, it drove everywhere. And I had to go to this college. And now, a lot of people don't know that some of the best kept secrets in the United States are our universities. And they're usually hidden back up in around the way. Nobody knows where they are, never heard of them. How'd you find this place? And I was at one of those places. And a lot of these places don't have access to main highways. And if you don't have access to main highways, you typically don't find chain hotels or even good hotels. Well, this place had a little motel. It was the only thing in town, and it was scary looking. And when I say scary looking, it was scary looking. And I remember going in, and my lecture was in the evening, and thinking, as soon as I'm done, I'm out of this place because this is, oof. And it was really run down. But when I went into my room, it was very, very clean. Now, you can go to a nice place and it not be clean. This was run down and really clean. The bed was like real old and, slumped down in the middle and used a lot. And the shower in the bathroom was really old, but everything you could see was scrubbed clean and you could smell clean. I wanted to iron my clothes for that evening, and I looked around in the room for an ironing board, and there were none. And I called down to the front desk, and someone answered and said, "Well, we have an iron. You can come borrow it. You can borrow our iron." I was like, "Borrow your iron? Why is there an iron in the room?" And I go, and it's a husband and wife couple, and they're young, and they had an infant baby with them. And they looked at me like, "Ooh, ooh, you're not what we were expecting." They said doctor. And they just kind of stared at me like, "Okay, here's the iron." And I went back and I ironed, and then my phone rang, and I thought, oh, maybe somebody needs the iron right away. And I went back, I answered the phone, and they said, "Come to the desk, you have a call." And I went, and everybody always knew where I was staying, and, my office, my family, everybody knew because you're out there alone. And I went, and it was the guy that I had just employed as an agent. And we'd have probably only been interacting and talking and working together for maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And he was calling to tell me that I had a nationally syndicated talk show. And I look around this place and I'm like, huh? And he's like, yeah. And he said, we've been kind of like working together and everything, but we don't have an agreement between us. And if you don't mind, I'd like to sign an agreement between us because this is when the agents come in and really trying to snatch you. And I know you wouldn't do that, but I just want to make sure. So I was like, sure. He's like, can I fax you something? And I was like, sure. I'm on the phone. And I'm like, yeah. And then I look at this couple who are staring at me and I go, you know what? There's no fax where I am. I'm going to, I'll call you tomorrow. We'll get a fax. He's like, where are you that there's no fax? And they told him the town, and he was like, ooh. Um, and, I hung up and I thanked them for letting me use their phone because it was, by the way, the office phone was the phone. You had to go back into their little apartment to use the phone. And they were really nice, and they were like, are you famous? I was like, no. And I did leave that night because, um, but I always remember whenever things seem off or difficult or not what I wanted or a little rundown, a little old and beat up, and if they feel like the opposite of the way that I want to work because I came up out of a lot of poverty. When it feels like that, I always remember that one of the best surprises, encounters, jobs, experiences, things happened right after that. Good is around the corner. You just have to do the work, endure, keep going, and use everything you have to make the world a better place. We're going to get there, babies. I love you.